Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Operation KO, and today we're going to animate my logo. Since I started this channel, I have been using this logo. As you can see, it's just a bunch of JPEG images I found on Google. It's composed of my favorite characters from Street Fighter, and I just added a comic-style font on it. For a long time now, I have been thinking of updating this logo. However, I just didn't make time for it. While I was finishing my PC build video, I just thought that it would be a great time to update my logo that I could call my own. For me, logos are not really a requirement, but it is good to have since it adds identity and character to you, your channel, and your brand. I wanted to create something attractive yet simple at the same time. I created this using Microsoft Paint and Photoshop. Here is a rough sketch of how I started the logo. I am aware that there are better softwares out there that's more dedicated for creating logos. However, I was not interested on learning a new software for this. But Photoshop and Microsoft Paint is what I have. I chose to start this logo with the hexagon to represent the O for the word operation, because I found that the corners provide a good accent. And then I drafted the letters K and O within the hexagon. Since I was working with a hexagon, I just thought that having parallel lines to represent the letters would create a consistent and creative feel to it. But here's the final logo. I am proud of myself for being able to create something like this. I do think that it turned out cool and creative in a simple way. I just uploaded it into Photoshop and added a drop shadow effect to add a little more character and depth to the logo. But here's the final image, and I'm proud of it. So before we jump into the editing software and edit the logo, we have to think about how you would like to animate your logo first, because there are different ways on how you'd be able to do that depending on how you like to animate. Now, you've seen the logo from the intro of this video. As you've seen from the intro of this video, the logo comes from two sides of the frame. One from the top right of the frame and from the bottom left of the frame, both of them sliding down, forming the logo on the center of the frame, and then slides out on the opposite side. So that's how I wanted to animate the logo. Now, for me to be able to do this animation, we have to divide the logo into two. Let's jump into Photoshop and show you how I did it. So first we want to locate our image. So mine is under pictures, and we want to open up the raw file of our image. So when you're creating something like this, always create a raw file for it, like a PSD file or maybe a TIFF file that contains all the data, so that you won't have to start over if ever you want to use the logo for a different purpose, like repurpose the logo, or maybe if you want to update the logo, you won't have to create the logo from scratch. So always keep a raw file for it. So here's mine. So we have two layers. One is the logo and the white background. So we can remove the white background for now. And I want to remove the shadow effect as well, so we can work on the logo itself. So again, our goal is to divide the logo into two. So we have to create one more. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. We want to rename both of them. So for the For the rest of this video, we're gonna call this the one on top image 1 and image 2 for the second one. So we're gonna work with image 1 first. So we want to hide image 2 and just have image 1 revealed so that we could focus on image 1 and see the real-time changes to this logo. So to get the animation that we want to add a mask, layer mask, and we want to grab our brush tool. Make sure you select the black color because black hides and white reveals. So that's a simple way of putting it when it comes to layer masking. And you want to be able to select the white background from the layer section here. Make sure that's the one selected, not the image itself. So we want to select that mask, and you can now start brushing the parts of the image that you want to hide. So in this case, I want to hide this. So as you can see, it just hides that part of the image using the black color, color for the brush. I'm gonna switch over to white and show you that it reveals the part of the image. So in any case that you accidentally brushed something that you didn't want to hide, you can just undo that, or maybe reverse the brush. Use a white color to reveal it back. So this is gonna be our image 1. So we're gonna simply save that or export that as a new image. We're gonna go to File, Export as. You want to export it as PNG, and make sure that transparency is enabled, because video editing softwares allows you to use an image with a transparent background. They won't have to remove that from the editing software. You can, but that's going to be an additional work. So this just makes it a lot more easier. So just hit export all and just save it. So I won't be saving it because I do have it already. And then we're done with image 1. We're going to move on to image 2. So I hid the image 1, and so here's image 1. I hid it, and I'm gonna make image 2 visible, and we're simply gonna do the same thing. We're gonna select image 2 from the lower right corner, and we're gonna hit this to add a layer mask. Select the white background for the mask, and select our brush tool and brush out the part of the image that we want to hide. So this is going to be image 2. So because this is a lot more thicker, I just went through it multiple times to make sure that we don't leave any particles to it. So this is going to be image 2. So same thing, we want to export this as another image. Again, make sure that you select PNG and transparency for this, and then export it, and then just make sure that it has a different name than the first image. So that's how we divide the image into two. Now we're going to jump into the Vinci Resolve to edit and animate this logo. Now you might ask, why the Vinci Resolve? The Vinci Resolve is free, and that's always good. But at the same time, it's also a professional grade software. It's used by filmmakers, professional filmmakers, and it's well known for its color grading. What do you call this? Color grading capabilities. So we just create a new project here. We want to go to the media pool. We can find the file, the image file from the left side right here, or we can just simply open the folder. Look for the image. As you can see, we have here image 1 and image 2. You can just drag and drop them over. Okay. Oh, we also need a plain white background for this. There we go. Now we move on to the edit tab. We're going to drop the white background on the first video track. So the reason we need the white background is because we're using a transparent background for our logos, and that uses a black background if you have a transparent background. So as you can see, if I hide video track 1, which is a white background, we're left with a black background. That's the default one. So we simply drag the image 2 on top of the white background. So it's like this is like layers when it comes to Photoshop. And we added the image 1 on the very top of all the images. So it created the video track 3 right here. As you can see, if we hide one of the images, it just shows you part of the logo. So that's why we wanted to divide the image into two so we could animate them separately. Now that we have all our clips on the timeline, we have to decide how long you would like the animation to be, or the intro will be. In this case, we want to set it at 4 seconds because it's a sweet spot for an intro, because it's not too short, it's not too long, and it's gonna match any song because of the beat. So we're gonna change the duration of these clips, because right now they're sitting at 5 seconds. You can change the duration of a clip by hovering over the end of the clip on the right side and just click and drag. You can either increase the duration or decrease the duration by dragging it over to the left. As you can see, it also shows you how many seconds you're deducting from it and how long the clip will be after you decrease the duration. So we're gonna leave it at 4 seconds. You can also change the duration of the clip. If you right click on the clip, we're doing it on image 2 right now. Right click, you'll get this menu and go to change, if I can find it, change clip duration right here. I'm going to change that to 4 seconds and hit change. As you can see, it's on the same line as this clip. We can also cut the clip. We can press B and just cut the clip right there. So we did that for image 1, and then we're gonna delete this leftover part. Now that we have our clip set to 4 seconds, we can now animate each of these clips or images, and we can do that by adding a keyframe. So if you select a clip, you will find inspector on the top right. If it's not showing, just go to the top right, you'll find inspector and click on it, and you'll have these menus. Now, to add a keyframe, you simply go to whatever option you want to use to animate your clip, and click this diamond right here, and it will create a keyframe. Now, what are keyframes? A keyframe is a term in media production that represents the location on a timeline which marks the beginning and end of a transition. In other words, a keyframe are points in time that represents change or transition, like from point A to point B. Now, for the animation that we want a total of 4 keyframes. Point A to B is going to be the transition of the image from outside of the frame going to the middle of the frame. And then from B to C is going to be how long the image will stay in the middle of the frame. And then from B to C will be the transition out of the frame. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go to the beginning of the timeline, beginning of the clip. Again, we're doing it on image 1 first. We're gonna use position in this case. I'm gonna click on the diamond to create a keyframe for it, and I want to go to the 0.5 second mark. That's where we're gonna put the second keyframe, and then near the end of the clip around here is the 3rd keyframe and the 4th keyframe on the end of the clip. So we have 4 keyframes, and we can do the same thing for image 2. So I'm gonna select image 2. I'm gonna click on position again to create a keyframe. Have to go back to image 1, go to the 2nd keyframe, and select image 2 to make sure that we're adding the keyframe on the same place as image 1. So we're just gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go to the 3rd keyframe right here and switch over to image 2, create a 3rd keyframe for it, go back to image 1, go back to the end of the clip, and add a keyframe for image 2. Now we have 4 keyframes for each clip. We can now add some changes to our position and animate this logo. So from the beginning of the clip, again, I want the first image to come from the top right of the frame. So I'm gonna use my hand right here to approximately mark where I would want this image to start. I'm changing the position of this image for it to come from the top right of the frame. I think that should do it. Now if I press spacebar, here's what will happen. So it comes from the top right, sliding in to the second keyframe at the center of the page or the frame. So we just wanted to add a change from the start of the clip because we want the second keyframe and the third keyframe to have the image stay in the middle of the frame. So we'll do the same thing for image 2. I'm going to go to the start of the clip where the first keyframe is, select the second image or that video clip, and I'm going to use my hand again to approximately check the positioning, and let's see, so it has to come from here. There you go. So now if we play it, that's what will happen. Okay, so we just have to do the same thing for the keyframe at the end of the clip for it to transition out. So we're gonna select image 1 again, and I'm gonna use my hand again to approximately check the positioning where I want it to be. Let's see. Sorry, bad. So, go here. So this is where the image will go at the end of the clip. Right there. And then we're gonna do the same thing for image 2. We want image 2 to exit out of the frame on the upper right side of the frame. So we've added keyframes to our clip and added changes on the first keyframe and on the last keyframe. And here's what we have. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play that again. So from outside of the frame, from the first keyframe going to the second keyframe, it revealed the image at the center of the frame, and from the second keyframe going to the third keyframe, it kept the image on the center of the frame. We didn't add any change to it. And then from the third keyframe to the last keyframe, it transitions out of the frame. So that's basically how keyframes work, how you would be able to use that to add animations to your clips or to images using the Vinci Resolve. Now, keyframe is a general term. It is also available on other video editing softwares like Adobe Photoshop or After Effects or Final Cut Pro or iMovie or Sony Vegas. So whichever you prefer, keyframes is a general term. You just have to look for it and see how you would be able to use it on other softwares. But for the Vinci Resolve, that's how you would do it. Now that we're done animating our clip, all we have to do is export this as its own file. So we can call it logo intro. Choose the location where we want to save it. MP4. You want it as an MP4. Codec should be H.264. If you can max out the resolution to 1080, and we have it at the highest frame rate possible right now is 30 frames, and best quality, just add to render queue and then start render. Because it's a very short clip, it really didn't take a second for it to finish. So the reason we want to do this is so that we can save time from animating the logo. We don't want to keep doing that for every video that we make. So this will definitely save you time from animating your intro. You can simply drag and drop it over. So for example, you're creating a new video. You just go to your media pool, look for the file, and here you have logo intro. Drop it to your media pool. You can now go to your edit tab, and your logo intro is right here. So it's now its own file, and you can just play it. You no longer have to animate it every single video you make. So that's it for today's video. I hope you got a ton of value out of this video, and for more videos like this, support this channel, like, subscribe, and share. And if you got any tips or any feedback regarding the presentation of this video, share your comments down below. I'll be more than happy to hear your thoughts. So thank you so much for watching, and you all have a great day.